I'm here to be an all-time great.
You now rocking with the best.
Purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow, purple yellow.
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles.
Welcome to the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Oh, he's smoking hot.
The latest Laker news.
Another great Showtime feed.
The greatest Lakers show.
This is going to be legendary for a long time.
This is the Big Baby Jonathan Sports Podcast.
Lakers all day.
Go Lakers!
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Big Baby, here from Big Baby Sports. Got a very special guest, five-time NBA champion from the Los Angeles Lakers and 0.4 King, Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher, thank you for coming on Big Baby Sports, man. It's really an honor.
I appreciate you having me, Jonathan, man. I know we got a chance to briefly connect a few months back and been staying in touch, so excited to get a chance to talk, man.
Yeah, man, let's get it, man. So, what was it like playing with Kobe Bryant and Shaq and Phil Jackson? What was it like being coached by them?
Playing or even just being around greatness, is a blessing, man. You get a chance to see the way their minds work, the way they approach, their business, the work ethic, the commitment. And so it was a real gift for me as a guy that, coming from Little Rock, Arkansas, and not really, knowing what that air up there is really like. It was an absolute joy. And, Phil, one of the greatest coaches to ever, to be on the sidelines, man. He just had a real feel for his players and when to push and when to pull. And we were thankful to be led by PJ.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And just 2000 era, man, what was that team like in general? I know you guys had your battles, man. What helped you guys overcome all those adversities that you guys experienced during those playoff runs?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jerry West deserves a lot of credit. We're going to miss Jerry,
Yep.
but I think he deserves a lot of credit. And I'm sure, Phil was involved in a lot of that decision making as well around the additions of Rick Fox to our roster. When Rick came over from the Celtics in '97,
Yep.
Robert Horry coming over. And then, when Phil came in '99, 2000, guys like AC Green, John Sally, who was a champion in Detroit and Chicago as well. Brian Shaw, Ron Harper, we were a really veteran, experienced, mentally and physically tough team. And obviously, Shaq just dominated, the early 2000s, with his play. And then Kobe's, rising as, one of the great of all times in those early 2000s as well.
Yeah, those early 2000s, man, I became a fan in the early 2000s because my brother was watching it, my grandma. And I remember what made me become a fan was that Sacramento Kings series, man. You guys hated Sacramento. The physicality, you guys were fighting with them, but it's part of sports. But what really made me become a fan was that Robert Horry shot.
Yeah. No, that was a huge shot in terms of our legacy as a team. That was our third time, through trying to make a finals run. And the Kings really had not only, put together a good quality roster, but they were super connected. The pace that they played offense at caused us issues at times. And a lot of people hadn't really heard of Mike Bibby or weren't as familiar with Mike Bibby's game because he was with the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he came over to Sacramento, I think Mike's presence really helped elevate the Kings to another level. No disrespect to White Chocolate either, who was good there. But that was those years, man, those battles, we finally learned how to win and how to battle through adversity. And again, a lot of our veteran players and Phil's presence, our coaching staff really helped us to kind of stay composed and poised under pressure.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And until this day, Kings and Lakers do not like each other. Their fans don't. It's still a rivalry, man, even though, even Kings pissed me off. I used to live in Sacramento.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So you heard it all.
And there was a situation where Ron Artest was on the Kings at the time. And I was like, what up, Ron Artest? And my brother was like, don't talk to him. He's the enemy, man. He's the king. Don't talk to him. We're Lakers. So I'm like, all right, cool. My brother set the tone. And even at times, Bobby Jackson gave the Lakers hell at times, man.
Yeah, Bobby was super competitive, man. And even though he's, smaller guy in stature. Like he had the job of coming off the bench, one of the best 6 man in the league. And after Doug Christie, would fight and scratch and claw and make Kobe work for everything. Then Bobby Jackson would come in and fight just as hard. And, obviously sometimes we didn't like, how aggressive, they were at times, and not that they were intentionally trying to hurt anybody, but it just seemed like it was a lot of extra. But that drove the competitive spirit of the whole series. We had to match that and exceed that, and we were able to do it.
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. So what I got from that series in 2000, you guys overcome adversity, but a lot of the Kings players were talking mess, man, like talking early, and Shaq, Kobe, you guys took it upon yourself to shut them up in that game 7.
Yeah, I mean, Shaq was definitely, comfortable, like, leading us, talking trash back, dominating the floor. Kobe was more of a trash talker, but it was a little quieter. It would happen during the flow of the game. But for me, it was, my trash talking was always winning. I really didn't have much to say out there on the court to guys. I just wanted to try to figure out a way to make sure we won the game or won the series. And that was the way I would talk back, in a sense. And so that game 7 in Sacramento was epic. The bus ride into the arena there in SAG, the fans being outside, 4 or 5 hours before the game. I mean, that was a big, big deal. And the fact that we were able to go into Sacramento in a Western Conference Finals and win game 1 and win game 7, that's what champions do. And we figured out a way to get it done.
Yep. Derek Fisher joining in. Hit that like button, subscribe. So we're going to dive into that 0.4 shot. So when Tim Duncan shot over Shaq and he made the shot over Shaq, what was that mindset going into the timeout when Phil called the time? What was the mindset of coming out of that timeout to execute the play?
Yeah, I mean, I think, anytime there's time on the clock, that means there's still time for something to happen. I didn't know what exactly. I knew, of course, that whatever play was going to be, run, it was going to involve trying to get the ball to Kobe or Shaq, or some, combination of those two guys. And so, just really trying to stay composed in those moments. The fans are going crazy. You're obviously disappointed and frustrated, but, I had been involved in a play in college where there was 0.2 seconds left in the game. And I threw a alley-oop pass to a teammate from the baseline out of bounds, and he tipped it in, fingertips into the basket, and we won a game in college that way. So fast forward to 2004, I really wasn't necessarily thinking that, it was impossible for us to win at that point. Like, something could happen. I didn't know what. Thankfully, what happened.
Yeah, man, that was the best shot ever one of the best shots in like histories. And as soon as you went up, my grandma was next to me. She's like, "My hero!" Boom, and I ran out of the house going crazy. I ran down the street, told my brother, "Let's go! Lakers just hit the shot." And back then, if they had reviewing back then, I wonder how that would be if there was reviewing back then. That is,
yeah,
today.
No, they had just kind of started it a little bit at that point, but I was pretty confident I got it off quick enough, which is part of why I ran out of there. Like, I knew it was good, because of how quickly, I was turning, and I caught the ball late and got the ball off in one motion. And, for us to be in that situation, man, I think we were up by 14 in that game. So,
yeah, you were,
it was just weird to, like, all of a sudden find ourselves down by a point. But I'm always thankful to GP, Gary Payton, because he took the ball out on that play, and he didn't try to force the ball to Cole, who was double teamed near half court. He didn't try to throw the lob to Shaq, which, Shaq really wasn't open. He just threw it to the first open guy he saw. And a lot of guys don't do that. They try to force it to the superstars. So I always have to give GP a lot of love for trusting me with that opportunity.
Yeah, man, that was the best shot ever, man. I was excited. Out of your 5 NBA championships, which one is the most meaning to you?
Big baby, do you have kids?
No, I do not.
Not yet. Okay. All right. So the favorite championship thing is like it's like kids, right? So when you start having kids, if you choose to do that, when somebody asks you what your favorite kid is, you have to make sure that they never know you have a favorite.
Yeah.
So when I get asked that question about the championships, I'm like, ooh, I don't know, if just one necessarily, stands out. But I really do believe when you think about the history of the Lakers organization and, all of the memorable moments and series, like all time, anytime the Lakers and Celtics play in the finals, that just gives it an extra boost in terms of like how hard it was to win, but also how important it was in NBA history. And so I think that 2010 series against the Celtics was one of the most challenging series that I ever played in, but it capped that 2000 to 2010 championship run for the Lakers, where we were able to cap off that 5th championship in that 10 years.
Yeah, man. 2010 was my favorite because 2008, I know we lost to the Celtics. I had to go to school the next day in Sacramento. But here's the thing: I wore my
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I wore my Laker jersey. I said, "You know what?
Yeah.
This loss is going to help us win the next 2 championships. It's going to motivate us. It's going to get us better, and it can be more hungry." Sure enough, we won the 2 championships, and I'm
That's exactly what it did.
Yep, and I'm very happy that you guys did it. And then the Orlando series too. That one was a grind. That one too.
Yeah. We had to push through. Like, we got up 2-0 in LA, and then we went to Orlando. They won Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Game 4 was a battle. It went down to the wire. But once we secured that win in Game 4, we felt like we really had control of the series, but we wanted to really close it out in that 5th game. We didn't want to mess around with the basketball gods, mess around with success in that way. We wanted to finish our breakfast and knock it out, and we were able to come back in Game 5 and close that series out.
Yeah, you hit a big shot in that game too. You pulled up 3. You're pulling up 3. And then Kobe 3 with the ball, and you hit another big 3. Man, that was crucial time.
Yeah. I mean, in those situations, you dream about being on the court, in those moments, and hoping that your teammates trust you enough to just make the right play. And Trevor Ariza took the ball out, threw it in the Kobe, and they double teamed Kobe. He threw it back at Trev, and then he advanced it to me. And I assumed that they might try to foul before I could get a shot up, but I took another dribble, and Jameer Nelson was kind of backing up.
Mm-hmm.
And that Hezzy pull-up 3 was one of my favorite shots. And, so I took it with confidence, made sure I kept the follow-through up all the way through the basket. And I don't think a lot of people realize how good that 2009 team was. Like we played the Magic, so people didn't really, it wasn't Lakers Celtics. They didn't really see it as this real battle. But that 2009 team we were still pissed from losing in 2008. We were super efficient offensively. We were disruptive defensively. Lamar Odom, who had just come off the 2008 Olympic team, he came back in 2008-09 and was in the best shape he had ever been in. His game was tight. He was an all-star caliber player that year, and that almost made us unbeatable to a large degree.
Yeah, man, that was a great series of 2009, 2010, and so now it's transitioning to Kobe Bryant, Legate Kobe. Tell us a story about Kobe Bryant that the people may want to hear.
Man, I mean, I feel like, there's so many, I think Kobe's stories and things that have been shared, over the last 4.5 years. I think it's the things I like to more so talk about are like, whether it was the times that we weren't on the same team, just how much we would talk and, and talk about our experiences. And after, playing, 8 years together from 96 to 2004, we went through a 3-year stretch where, 2 of those years for sure, 04, 05 and 05, 06, we were both on, bad teams that didn't make the playoffs. And that was really frustrating. And so we would just talk about what, feelings we had, what we were going through. But we mostly talked about, our families and our kids. And, Cole was starting to have girls and raising a family. And we talked about a lot of those things too. And those were the conversations I enjoyed the most, because that you got to see a side of him personally that a lot of people didn't see until after he finished playing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I have a Kobe Bryant story too. He followed me on Twitter and we had a conversation, man. He's like, I like what you do. Keep up the great work on your podcast. Keep it up, man. Salute. I'm like, wow, appreciate it.
That's dope.
Yeah. And out of the 2010 Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors Kevin Durant team, how do you think that matchup would go?
I think, the two teams that come to mind as far as, playing against those guys would be the 2001, 2001. Team that ran through the playoffs, that year. I think that was one of the all-time great, playoff teams and postseason runs. And then I think, there's a part of me that feels like you could go. I think the 2010 team, I think Meta's physicality in a matchup with Durant would be interesting. But a lot of the comparison of different teams from different generations, you'd almost have to you'd have to alternate the rules.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If, in game 1, we're playing the 2017 rules, or game 2, we're playing the 2001 rules. And you'd really have to give each team a chance to play at their best in their era. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it wouldn't necessarily be the same. But just to even be in those conversations and know that, I was on teams that are considered some of the all-time great teams, that's the fun part. And, just thankful for that, man.
Yeah, me too, man. But yeah, man, Lakers season's upon us. We got the big win on Tuesday. How do you feel about Lakers this year, man? How do you feel like AD, LeBron, JJ Redick, Bronny James? How do you feel about this team this year?
Yeah, I think, newness can bring a greater sense of urgency at times. And you could tell that a lot of people are invested in the team being successful this year, right? Management made a tough choice to move on from another coach. Those are never easy choices. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of raises the stakes for management to hire a new coach that really inherently has to do better than the coach that you let go before.
Yeah.
So that raises the level of urgency, from a front office perspective. And then obviously for a new coach coming in, and JJ Redick that hasn't necessarily previously coached before, but clearly has the mindset of a coach and really sees the game offensively in a way that the guys appear engaged in how JJ wants to do things. And so it really feels like there's a sense of alignment in what this team wants to accomplish this year. And it's early. Obviously the ups and downs of a season will determine kind of how it all plays out. But so, in one game, some of the things that they want to do offensively, I think are going to pay off for them a little bit more, coming out of timeouts, and some of the different actions that they're going to get to are going to be fun to see. And then playing through Anthony Davis, I think for the last few years, fans, media, et cetera, AD needs to be the best player on the team. It doesn't mean he's historically greater than LeBron per se, right? But it's in order for the Lakers to have maximum success, Anthony Davis needs to be the focal point. And so it really just be a question of, can you shoot and make enough threes to keep up with the elite teams in the NBA while also making Anthony Davis the focal point of what you do offensively? And that's where they'll have to kind of find that balance at times, so that you're not scoring too many twos while the other team is shooting and making threes.
Yeah, like because the Lakers shot 15% on Tuesday, and they went to the Anthony Davis a lot. They rotated the ball. I like JJ Redick's scheme, like his offense rotations, but it's one game. We can learn from that. 15% from three, that can go up in the game tomorrow versus the Phoenix Suns. It's going to be, me personally, because I've been rocking with the Lakers for a long time, I feel like it's going to take us 30 games. We'll figure out where this team is by February. We'll know by the All-Star what this team is really made of.
Yeah, no, those are good instincts, big baby. I think you're right. Like, there are times last year or in previous years, right, if they had only shot 15% from three, probably would have lost the game.
Yep.
And then all of the post-game conversation would have been about they couldn't make enough threes.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were able to defend well enough to still win a game while not necessarily shooting great is a good sign. And yeah, I think, oftentimes like Phil and our coaches would kind of circle Christmas as, kind of like you said, that kind of 30-game mark where you really start to have an idea of what the potential of your team may be. And then between Christmas and that All-Star game or trade deadline break, then that's when you start thinking about, okay, are we good enough to get it done with this group? Or between Christmas and trade deadline, do we need to make another move that would kind of take us into that upper echelon of teams in the West? And so then you spend the next 6 to 7 weeks having those conversations to see if there's an opportunity to improve the roster.
Yep, it's going to be a good season, man. I'm excited. We got Phoenix tomorrow, and we got Sacramento, and we got Phoenix again. I'm looking forward to it, man. But Derek Fisher, man, thank you for coming on, Big Baby Sportsman. Before I get up on out of here, you have a message for Big Baby Sports fans in the comment section?
No, I appreciate everybody that jumped in there, this morning. I know everybody's busy, so whether you listen at work or you're at home or, kind of whatever you got going on, appreciate you popping on. Big Baby, continue to do your thing, man, and show your passion for the Lakers and for the game of basketball. And just, thank you to everybody. Like I've been thankful to be in LA for, my entire adult life, and Lakers fans have treated me like, I was born here. Like, it just really, LA is home. And so I'm thankful that I've been a part of a great organization, and appreciate you for letting me come on, man, and chop it up. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again soon sometime.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys take care, everybody. Have a good one.